Updates in this story.
Absolutely. And nearly a year after an unarmed man experiencing a mental health crisis was shot and killed in a Yakima dog park, we're getting some answers from the prosecutor's office.
Yeah, Yakima County Prosecutor Joe Brusic has decided not to file criminal charges in this case. In an exclusive interview, Apple Valley News Now's Emily Goodell talks to the man about his decision. It's something you will only see, another story only on Apple Valley News Now.
We're not naming the shooter here as he hasn't been charged with a crime, but Brusic says after looking at all the evidence and the state's self-defense laws, he came to the conclusion that if it went to trial, a jury would accept an argument for self-defense and find him not guilty.
It's very easy for anyone in the community or law enforcement or anybody to look at Monday morning quarterbacking and to determine that he could have done various things. It's exactly what we hear in officer-involved shootings.
But Brusic says in self-defense cases, they have to look at objective standards of what a reasonable person would do in that situation.
And you'd also look at what, in this particular case, Mr. Tellis looked at subjectively at the time that this incident unfolded before him with his child.
In the early afternoon on February 5th, 2023, multiple witnesses called 911, saying a man, Ortega, was trying to talk to people, cussing, yelling about a gun, and acting erratically, as if he was experiencing a mental health crisis or was on drugs. Authorities say Ortega then approached the man and his child, yelling about the child and refusing to leave, and the man pulled out his gun.
At the point where he was shot, just prior to that, he was about 3 feet away, which is exceptionally close.
Ortega died at the park nearly a year ago, but the decision just sent to law enforcement on Tuesday.
We waited for the toxicology reports, and those took a couple months. And then just the sheer workload that I have and that we all have in terms of evaluating the case. My apologies for obviously not getting this done sooner.
Brusic says he included all the information relevant to his charging decision in his letter to law enforcement. But it doesn't say much about Ortega himself, what he was going through at the time, how his death impacted his family, or how, in the middle of a mental health crisis, he ended up at that park in the first place. I've previously spoken with Ortega's family about his case and their struggle to understand the whole picture. In Yakima, Emily Goodell, Apple Valley News Now.
Emily has much more on this story. She has uncovered new details on this case after filing a public records request with law enforcement. That is a story you will see something, that story rather is something you'll only see here. We're hoping to air that on Monday, February the 5th, which marks 1 year since Ortega's death.